Everybody, and this is Well111, and I wanted to make this video because, as you all know by now, Scale Train's announcement of acquiring MTH, the HO and S scale. I have no idea what's going on with the O gauge, but I'm praying it's not going to Lionel, because let's face it, if MTH O gauge goes to Lionel, O gauge is literally, I mean, it may not be screwed, but it could be heading to that path. And I mean, I really don't want to see that just be the reasoning in it, just because Lionel would basically turn into a monopoly at that point, at least in the O gauge market. But I mean, Scale Trains, I mean, as we all know, is still a fairly new company. It's probably only been around for about 10 years, I think. I mean, I just didn't really start hearing about it till like 2019 though, so it's still fairly up and coming. I mean, I know they do make some decent locomotives as it is. I do, however, hope that they're not going to turn the steam locomotives into like $400 things. Because, I mean, the hobby needs, I think, a lot more low range to medium range price-wise for steam locomotives, especially. Like diesels, yeah, you get a lot of those. But then there's steam engines that it's very hard to find a good, cheap one besides Bachmann, and let's face it, Bachmann locomotives aren't the greatest things, and I personally try to stay away from them. I mean, the Lionel one isn't bad, but I mean, it's still, let's face it, it looks like a toy. I mean, because I know Scale Trains just put a lot of detail into this thing, so it would be kind of interesting to see what locomotives in that list that was basically a full complete list of locomotives come back. Like, my personal interest is actually the triplex, just because that model was only made, I think, like once in its entirety, and then it was never really released. I mean, if it's at least a fair price, I may get it. Like, if obviously I think it's a ripoff. I mean, now on eBay, like, anytime you see them, it's like $600, but I mean, I understand that one, though. But I mean, overall, I think that this is actually a good move. I mean, in the sort of way I did want to see Lionel at least get some of the stuff, but okay, my camera decided not to focus there. I don't know why. Lionel ended up getting model power and Manoa tooling, I believe. I know it's at least one of them that they ended up getting, which, you know, I mean, it's not the greatest, but it is so nice to see at least some of the classics being able to be coming back in the near future, like Mikado's, but I mean, that's enough about Lionel. I mean, MTH, it's kind of unfortunate that I had to close, though, just because the owner didn't want to go with the business and not move on to, like, someone else to take over the business. But I do think this is probably the biggest move in the hobby in probably 20 years, when really all the other big companies decided to start going out. At the time, that kind of left one was like Athearn. I think Athearn and Bachmann were really just big left ones. Because Three Brothers, which was a smaller company, which they have rare stuff, and that stuff's hard to get, but I mean, also their kits are a pain to build. But it's a lot of, like, we need, I think, a lot more steam engines to be built. Where I think eventually Scale Trains is gonna, or some company's gonna have to go on and make other locomotives. Like, we need a Frisco 1630 that's actually prototypically accurate, not this crappy ass Bachmann crap. But I mean, there's some, like, weird wheel configurations I wish were made too, and I'm hoping that now with this new tooling, that maybe it was some of the part of the list that, because I know they said there were some locomotives that were never even, they were just designed, they were never actually made at all. There was no tooling for them. So it's always got to be made for that. But I think that's going to be the big factor. As what are those locomotives? Like, because I know they said they're not going to make everything, but we do need some locomotives back. Like, we need more big boys for sure in the market, because those sell. I think we need more challengers. There hasn't been a refresh of challengers in probably about 10 years now. Maybe a little bit less, but since Broadway. But Broadway is more premium brand. I mean, overall, I think Scale Trains is probably our best bet to even really get, I think, a lot more lower price. Because I know, like, their new museum quality set they're bringing out, that's actually decently priced for what I was expecting. So I'm starting to see that they're, over time, actually reducing, the prices are going down on them, which is nice. So, I mean, hopefully the steam locomotives aren't super expensive. Like, yeah, I know, steam locomotives do cost a little bit more just because there's more parts, like the rods and stuff that have to work, and there's more tooling and stuff involved with making one. But I mean, yeah, I think overall that, like, Scale Trains is probably the best bet to even say basically the steam market for HO scale, at least. I mean, S scale for sure, just because, like, let's face it, S scale has not been on the map or even mentioned anything in such a long time. I mean, it's there, but I think if they can bring a market to it, that's ultimately gonna, I think, give more people options for this hobby. So, I mean, okay, S scale is just a half step between O and HO. Like, it's not bad. It's actually, like, if I were to go bigger and I had to pick between, like, O gauge, in between, like, had to do O gauge, I prefer S. Just because of the fact that it's 2-rail, not 3-rail, because 3-rail is disgusting. I mean, yeah, I get the purpose of it back then, but I mean, now there's kind of no excuse. Because the original purpose was, well, in order to be able to get around the reversible loop thing, which HO scale had the problem with, that's the reason for the third rail, was to do away with that problem with the shorting, without having to do all this extra fancy wiring. And don't get me wrong, it worked. But now everything's basically DCC, especially for, like, O gauge. I do think that's got to switch, but I mean, MTH, I mean, yeah, they were kind of hitting their end anyways, because I think it was their products were getting repetitive anyways, but I'm hoping that Scale Trains can make a quick refresh on products and get back out into the market, and hopefully we see some new products very soon from them. I don't know if I'm going to pick them up, but I think it all really depends on what the price point is. Like, if the Hiawatha, oh yeah, I'm on that train like everyone else. Like, I mean, that, if there is a Hiawatha, yeah, you know that's going to sell. No matter if it's an F7 Hiawatha, which is the Hudson, or the Atlantic. But I mean, overall, I do think that they definitely are going to succeed a little bit more. So I think their name just got put on the map of model railroading, and before, like, they were just like a little tiny spot. But I mean, anyways, with that, I thank you guys all for watching, and if you do like what you're seeing, please consider clicking the like and subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. And until next time, goodbye.